I'm going to explain how to read my Colorwork charts for my Colorwork shawls. Specifically, this is a blow-up of the first section of one wedge of the WendyP shawl. It's come to my attention that some of you are having trouble reading the chart because the symbols are missing that you're used to seeing for increases that you would see on a lace chart. They're missing for good reason, and I'll explain and demonstrate. First of all, I want to explain the white space on the chart. Ignore it. This represents future stitches. Because you're going from a three-dimensional object to a two-dimensional chart, there's just no way to show that this doesn't exist without putting the white space in there. So ignore it. You're setting up your first few rounds of the shawl according to the instructions prior to the chart, and you're going to work up to 24 stitches on straight needles because it's all the same color. It's just easier. You can do that any way you want. I choose to do it on straight needles and then graft the opening closed later on because I've got the long tail that I've got to weave in anyway. So once you get to the part where it says start reading the chart, you have 24 stitches on your needle. It's joined in the round. You are now adding your second color. There are 8 wedges, 8 repeats in the circle. There are 3 stitches here, so 8 times 3 is 24. You're going to be doing another 24 stitch round, but this time you have 2 colors. So you'll be knitting the dark green, which represents the main color, the light blue, which represents the contrast color, and I have added that to the pattern. So you're going to slip your marker, knit a main color, knit a contrast color, knit a main color, slip your marker, repeat all the way around. Then you get to round 2, and this is where some of you were confused about the increases. You will notice that you go from 3 boxes, each box representing a stitch, to 5 boxes, which means now you're going up to 5 times 8 wedges. You're jumping from 24 to 40 stitches. Remember that always you read charts bottom to top, right to left. There is no purling, so it's always right to left on stockinette. And you are starting with your main color, so I'm going to demonstrate here. My main color is the dark one, but then there's another box here, and this is why the symbol doesn't work, because you're going to do the increase in the other color. So you can increase any way you want. This is the way I recommend. You knit your stitch, but don't take it off the needle. Take that loop and slip it to the right needle, twist it, put it back on the left needle, and knit it with your other color. This hides that little bump that would occur if you just knit through the back. Now that bump is hidden. I'm going to then finish that repeat by knitting my middle stitch, my third, or actually fourth stitch because I've increased. So now I have my main color, my 3 contrast color, but there's another dark stitch here. I have to increase. Where there wasn't a stitch here in round 1, there now has to be one in round 2. So this is the increase stitch. I'm going to pick up that loop as if I hadn't taken it off, slip it onto the right needle, and twist it and put it back, twist it on the left needle, and then knit it with the other color. Again, you can knit one in the back if you want. This just hides that little bump. The bump may not bother you. It doesn't bother me. Sometimes it's a design element. Then, if I'm actually working on a different shawl here, but I would slip my marker and I would repeat that. The same thing is going to happen when you get to round 3. You're going to knit the first stitch in your main color. You're going to increase with your contrast color. Knit 3 more, and then you get to the last one, which is an increase. Knit with your contrast color, increase with your main color. Same thing. Now that isn't always true because when you get up to round 9, your increase stitch is the same color. They're both contrast colors, so you just increase, make one, and then read it across, ignoring the white space because that'll be filled in later, as you'll see on the chart, and so forth. But that's why you can't use the little symbols that you use in lace knitting, because you have 2 colors here. I think that covers everything. I'm going to show you an increase one more time. Instead of increasing by knitting through the back of the loop the way we usually do, you're going to slip that over to your right needle, twist it, slip it back, and then knit it to hide that little bump that appears on the bottom. And then you just use the opposite color if that's what the pattern calls for. I hope that clears things up. If it doesn't, please let me know and we'll shoot this again.